they're on their way, they're catching up to Boox. It's somewhere between the Boox Note F3C and the Tab Ultra C Pro, which is slightly better, the Bigme. So in here is the Inknote X color, and this is, I think, might be the 4th Inknote device, but currently they're selling an Inknote Lite, an Inknote Color Plus, and this, the Inknote X. The Inknote Color Plus, all 3 of the current Inknote devices have the Kaleido 3 screens, there's no difference there. But this should be a more powerful chip than them both, with a better graphics card and lower power consumption. And that's what it needs to beat the competition. It needs to be able to have as good use of that e-ink screen as the Boox devices do, and it needs to beat them in battery consumption as well. And what they need to do is have a smoother software experience. So I'm not expecting that to have changed much since the previous iterations of Inknote. Nice. I've said it many times with Bigme. Good hardware, generally a little bit lower price than the competition, in the full Android color e-ink tablet with Wacom EMR. But the software experience just a little bit lacking. And one thing I've also said is they ought to get their own design language, because most of them have seemed, until this point, a bit more like a sort of plastic imitation of the Remarkable. And this time, at least, they've gone for their own kind of coloring, although it does still have that plastic feeling. It does still feel like the same materials, just with a different color. But if that chip can give it a better battery performance and rival the Boox Super Refresh technology, then this might just be a Bigme worth recommending. Let's find out. It comes in at a similar price to the Note Air 3C. This is £529.99. What else do you get? Just the things that you would expect. USB-C cable, quick start guide and warranty card, turn it on, do as you're told, a couple of spare nibs, and a SIM card, a tray opener thing. I want to talk about that briefly. Yeah, there is a SIM card tray in here, and it should allow 4G, 5G connectivity, but I've never been able to get that to work in my region. So be aware, when you're reading these things, make sure that you know what you're getting into. It does not connect to 4G or 5G in the UK. Whether that works in the US, I doubt. I think that's only for China and Southeast Asia there. But it does do 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi though, which is good. We certainly don't skimp on features though. There is a set of speakers here. There are 4 microphones at the top, which should do a lot of AI noise cancelling and allow it to have good vocal input. It's got a front camera and a rear camera as well. So that is unlike any other kind of e-ink tablet out there. So yeah, really quite similarly priced. The Boox Note F3C comes in at €549.99, or in dollars, $499. So this is a little bit higher price than the similar Boox tablet, but it's somewhere between the Boox Note F3C and the Tab Ultra C Pro, for instance. The other thing you get in the package, really nicely packaged this time. Oh, the case is even more premium than the last time. Still got that full wraparound case, really protects the stylus and the device should you drop it. It's all pointing to an improving experience from Bigme. It's just scanning now to connect to the stylus. Not that the stylus needs a connection just to write with it, but it needs a connection for the Bluetooth button that it has. And it says it's wireless charging, but it isn't wireless like an Apple Pencil is. It's wireless by these 2 little pogo connectors at the top here and on the pen. The pen is something that I wish I could see redesigned from them. Press the power button of the stylus to connect. Here you go. So that's an improvement, as I say, over the previous kind of package as well. I'm gonna get the device set up. Take you through some of the initial kind of settings things. You do have these gestures from the bottom and gestures on the side to give you adjusting the lights. I don't tend to use those. I don't really want those either because I end up coming back by accident. So just use the bottom gestures. I do wish that it would just have a standard Android set of buttons at the bottom. So okay, it's all logged onto Wi-Fi and I've signed into my Bigme account. And I wanted just to bring you along for this sort of first, once you are signed in, what you first see, because my criticisms of Bigme have largely been around their software experience in the past. And I wanted to show you just that actually they have added these handy little tutorials which pop up every time you do a new thing, essentially. Although I've disabled that. You know, it would be better if it was smart enough to know that I've made that choice and not show me that that's the thing they can do. It's showing me the first thing early on in my time with Bigme. I was confused about this sort of sidebar that they have in this kind of note-taking view, but it's showing me that I can actually move things around on here, and that's really nice. And yeah, that is a nice implementation of the screen. I can see that's rapid. Next thing to sign in is of course Google Play, and one of the main benefits of the Bigme tablets is they are fully Google Play certified and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through some of the claims that they're making on their kind of website and talk about whether I think that this is likely to do those things for you or not. So here we are, this is the Bigme website. You can go ahead and watch the YouTube video yourself. It does have a fingerprint unlock at the top, which is really quite nice actually. And this is an Android 13 system, and many people have criticized other e-ink tablets for being stuck on the previous generation of Android. We are on Android 14 for phones. We're on Android 12 on books, and for many tablets, we're still on Android 11. They've chosen to highlight the 5 kind of core functions, and you've got your Android with Google Play, and you can download any app you like. Let's go ahead and get Kindle so it's ready to go. I know it was on there already, but always prefer to install and check a fresh copy from, just update it there. You can install Audible, for instance, and carry on your audiobooks at this point on this device. And I'm also going to install CPU-Z to talk a little bit about the processor that's in here as well, which is one of the main differentiators between this and other Bigmes and also other Android e-ink tablets. This is nice so far, I'm enjoying this so far. They've also talked about the OCR real-time recognition. So using the camera, you can scan documents and have it recognize them for you. So that could be very useful for some of you. I've hit scan document there. There's still just a few times where you polish those things just to really give your customers confidence. Upload from your photo album or upload from here. Export to PDF or text. Yeah, you are pretty good on that, apart from my handwritten bit. So don't expect to be able to scan your handwriting, but printed text is done just fine on there, hasn't it? And this Kaleido free ink screen with the 300 ppi in black and white and 150 ppi color layer as well on there as well. Might not be perfect for everybody. If you just want text, then I suggest save money and go for just a black and white one. And then the Intelligence stylus. Again, get your things spell checked by a native English writer. It's got a laser pointer, which I think is silly, personally, but it's there. I think you could accidentally shine that in your eye if you're not careful. I hope it's quite low power. It is a Wacom EMR stylus, so it is 4,096 levels of pressure. It's good. Still no tilt here though, it seems, on the pencil, unless I've got that option in here. No, I don't. The brush, and quite a squeaky, felt tippy feel to the screen. That is not as rough, I believe, as the older Inknote. Yeah, so this is the Inknote Color Light, and it has a more of a textured, this has more of a kind of grippy, feltish feel screen. Not sure which I prefer at this point. And it also has a page turn backwards and forwards button. Which that up and down, what I see is flipping between the eraser. Now that makes sense why the page turn buttons don't work in the Notes app, because the page buttons on the eraser or on other Bigme devices which have page buttons, in the Notes app, they default to changing between the pen and the eraser look. So one to change between that and the eraser. Now, it could have a second button, it could have a Wacom EMR button rather than the Bluetooth button to change to the eraser, and then you could still have the page turn buttons. And I think Bigme should actually, if they're sticking with this Bluetooth technology, they should make these 3 be the standard Android buttons. I think that'd be more useful than what they are currently. And then it also says that this is a voice remote control, so I think you can hold one of these down and use it. Although it doesn't have a microphone in it, you can activate the sort of input of the device there as well. I haven't seen how to use that yet though, so we will see. It says set aside unnecessary tasks and immerse yourselves in reading. Yes, I think I will. So let's go ahead and go to Kindle now. And I've been trying my best to really get back to my good reading habits this year. And so I'm really interested, because I have enjoyed 1 or 2 sort of classic graphic novels. And I'm interested to see what that's like reading on this size here on the Bigme device as well. Natively in its own reader, you can support PDF, EPUB, text, Mobi, all those things. You've got the warm and the cold light, and you'll need to be playing with those because you'll want to balance the kind of color for the different situations that you're in. You need quite a lot of cold light to get natural looking colors here on the Kaleido free ink screen. I'm not sure what I'm allowing access to there. Things like this are going to scare some people off. Okay, and random bits of Chinese language coming up. You just allow voice settings, which could be anything, couldn't it? But okay.
I did have repeated issues with Kindle showing me this black screen a lot, in graphic novels that is.
So that looks, okay, there we are, we're in. So who knows what was going on there. That looks pretty nice. Although there's quite a lot of ghosting in the color image. On the Kaleido free, generally the black and white does quite well, but actually the color areas do tend to get this white ghosting where the black point was. So let's see if we can look into the e-ink center here, which is an important thing to learn, so I've given you a little user guide here. HD 265 is best color display resolution, right, okay. HD mode, clear display for general text. Normal mode, faster refresh rate. Extreme mode, fast refresh with slight detail loss. Regal mode, least ghosting, clearer display of text and images, cool. And then full refresh frequency, so how often do you want it just to do a full refresh? Comic mode, okay, I can try that one out. That seems to be the one that I'll need to go in for this one. Quick mode, so you don't need to really learn the things. Okay, so go to comic, there we go. Now home, recent. I think it can do better than this. I think it's come out of comic. There we are. Oh, but it's still got, you see, you've still got a heavy ghosting of the previous image. You essentially, it remembers your settings for each app. So I want to go HD 265 then. But you can see in this best quality image mode, I was having to refresh the entire screen. So I think this would be a good experience reading the comics if you're happy for that full flash every single time you change page. And that might be acceptable. You've got the bigger screen so you can read the text on here. Comics clearly the place to be, but then just try normal fast, shall we? Quick, but you can see heavy ghosting in the color areas, can't you? Immerse yourself in reading. I think you can, but that comic, maybe not so much. It should automatically go and import any books that you download on it. So let's go and download something. I'll go into their automatic browser. You're still getting quite a lot of ghosting here. Auto clean is on. It's in normal fast, which is the kind of default mode. That is the equivalent of a balanced mode. And rather than OK, it's got determine. Now I should have downloaded that. So let's check where we're at. Hit the same home button in the browser and on the thing, so I didn't find that very quickly. So we need to save the file into the book directory rather than it just scan my downloads, I presume. Let's go to Files, Storage. You can probably see it just isn't all that easy to use. Find the download. No, did it not download? Press determine. Let's try again, shall we? Browser. Not got a notification to tell me it's downloaded. Anything else? Yeah, I'm just getting that same feeling of things being slightly harder to do than I should find them to do. So let's go and look at some ordinary text in Kindle. Am I still in normal mode here? No, I'm on custom HD 265 here, aren't I? So let's go back to default. Yeah, that does look pretty good. So I've done the document recognition and the scanning. Intelligent Office, fast and efficient. So yes, you can actually download Excel, PowerPoint, all of those things. Any PDF software that you might want to use. It's got its own little Office apps, but I would recommend going ahead and downloading whatever app you like to use your Office things for. I just can't stop reading. More fun to read color-filled novels, manga, web pages, and other content. A really big battery, 4,000 milliamp hours, so it's supposedly going to go for quite a long time. Although it's gone down 4%. 5 actually, I think it started on 91. And that's been installing things and going back and forth and browsing things like that. The generally reading will give you better battery life than other things. Use colors to spark your inspirations. Okay, fine. You only get so many colors available to you in the Note app. And again, I don't know why none of the big ink players have really gone to town and given us access to all of the different colors that the screen can make. All 256 of them. You've just got 16 of them and 5 of those are just a grayscale. You've got to swipe up here to do a full screen refresh at any point. But that's the type of thing, I don't know if you noticed, but that kind of ghosting of one image, the previous image, is the type of thing that you're used to not seeing when you've used a Boox tablet with a Boox Super Refresh for very long times. Refining note-taking excellence. Paper-like screen recreates authentic feel of pen on paper. Yeah, it's a good feel. Isn't probably the best feel that you can get. Write down ideas, sketches effortlessly with the included stylus. Check. Meeting content fully recorded for lectures. So yeah, they've got this meeting notes app, which I think actually is quite good. Meeting records here, a little thing like this. And this is one of the best things about Bigme. If you can see a use case for this, I think this app is actually worth thinking about. This app is all about transcribing the thoughts and the voice of multiple speakers. And you can use the Notes app at the same time. That's a bit slower than it normally is, but it uses these 4 microphones on top, which have sort of noise cancelling features to them as well. And this is a multilingual app here as well. And then the nice thing is, once you're finished, you can just share that out, and you can share it by QR code or a link via the Bigme cloud. Stop it transcribing now. That's slower than I think I remember it being. And it does give you this like polish function, and it goes ahead and polishes what was said in the meeting, turns it into, you know, nicely formatted text. It hasn't done it this time because it's gone into the tutorial rather than done the thing I've asked it to do. So let's try again. Here it is now. It's going and polishing the thing. I don't remember it being this bad. So what's gone on? I'm going to reboot and see if there's an update for this. So maybe this is the thing. It's gone from Android 12 to Android 13, or I think Android 11 to Android 13 maybe even. And things don't seem to be as well optimized as they were. Maybe I'm looking back with kind of rose-tinted spectacles on the Inknote Color Light, but I don't remember things being quite so slow. I remember this app being pretty much real time. Who knows? I'll let it just chat away whilst I go into the next bit. And we've seen the auto clearing, ghosting, and anti-shake things and flicker reduction. You've got those functions, but be ready, if you're going to go for this device, be ready to sort of play about with those things to get them right. And make sure you know where that full screen refresh shortcut is. So now you see, they've called it X Rapid Fast Refresh technology. Bigme's self-developed X Rapid Fast Refresh algorithm can achieve ultimate speed of up to 15 frames per second, fastest speed that can be achieved under the current conditions of the e-ink screen. So yes, that is true. That is as fast as the ink screens kind of go. Now you can see the transcription is kind of lagging behind. So there we are. That was maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds after I finished speaking, it finished transcribing. Okay, not too bad. And then the polish function. Not perfect, not terrible, and you can export that out to text or PDF, so that's there. So I am very interested by the new chip that they've put into this one. So this one has a Dimensity 900 chip. So let's go into CPU-Z now and see that. It says low power consumption, but high computing power and stronger performance. Get a responsive and smooth experience. I must say it is quite responsive, like navigating around. Octa-core CPU for multitasking. Inknote Color X can deliver exceptional performance boost to your productivity. Okay. It's got 2 performance cores of 2.6 gigahertz and a whole load of sort of more efficiency cores, I believe. I think I'm right in saying it's a 6 nanometer process chip. And my question about it was really, can the GPU in it do what Boox are doing with their super refresh? And I just don't think it's quite there yet. So let's pull out the Boox in a moment and see the difference. They have removed the sort of 4G 5G connectivity from their marketing here. So that's better. At least it's not dishonest. They've compared all the things. They've both got all the things. So this is the Meditek Dimensity 900 and the previous one was the Meditek 6765. So still at octa-core, but not quite as powerful and not quite as efficient it should be. Cool. So I think my question was, do they really need another device with the Kaleido free ink screen? And I think it is still largely the same. Yes, they've gone for a different color scheme. But other than that, it's very much, it feels like the same device. Extra RAM and a faster processor, basically. So do you need to update if you've got one of the previous Inknotes? I think almost certainly not. Perhaps you were looking for a chip that can manage video calls a bit better. You know, this chip can manage 4K video encoding. Not that the cameras will manage that, I doubt. And not that you'd really still want to do that on here. You've got a chip that can handle that, but a screen that certainly wouldn't handle that. I really hoped that they'd gone away from the kind of remarkable but plastic look of the previous ones. It was a very similar kind of look to the remarkable, but instead they've just changed the tones of the plastics and you've still got a slightly different look, but still a plastic feel. And I think if only they can get their own design language going. And I was hoping when I unboxed this that it would have a more premium feel, a bit more of a reimagined kind of housing, but it doesn't. It's just the same plastic that we've seen. And yes, you've got the Android 13, but I wonder if that jump has meant that actually some of their things that they were working quite well, their software which was working acceptably, is maybe not there, because it's had to port up to the newer operating system. And it would be glorious if the mobile data could work on it, but it just doesn't. I would love it if I could use an e-ink device on a cellular network. So let's quickly get out some of the Boox devices and do that comparison. Here's the Boox Note F3C. It also has a fingerprint reader. For me, the aluminium finish, aluminium unibody is just more premium than this plastic. You can see it's a fair bit thinner as well. I'll just try and match up the sort of brightness because they are the same screen. There should be no difference there. You can see how similar the user interface looks now. And let's go ahead and use both of their default browsers. Go to the same place. It's anti-flicker's doing quite well on here actually. Let's check we're in similar modes. So normal fast, which is the equivalent, auto clean on. Okay, anti-shake wasn't on. Let's do that. Okay, I'm going to custom, do I? And then balanced, similar mode. I think you can see you're getting more of a flicker because this is doing more frames per second over here. Yeah, it's actually not performing badly at this point. Go back to home. Okay, maybe I've been a bit harsh, actually. Let's look at both in Kindle. So for the text, it's sort of identical performance really. You can see actually a fair bit of ghosting here on the Boox actually. And yeah, you can see that same thing here on the Bigme also. Both looking nice and crisp though. I think the Dimensity chip maybe is an improvement. Back to the comic. I was doing this before, wasn't it? Going to black. But that can't just be the app because it isn't doing it on the Boox. You can see the same color ghosting here on the Boox as well. It's now working. Certainly brighter, isn't it, on the Bigme? Vivid enhancement is right up. You can see it's very difficult to make these comparisons because the settings of the screen you can see change so much about the way it looks. I mean, if I'm honest, this is slightly better than Bigme. Let's put it into comic mode. I think that is the best for comics. You are getting a lot of that ghosting there though. That's what's worse. This doesn't have a specific comic mode. We put both into HD and see. I must say, Bigme's looking better in the HD mode, but both in that color space are a mess of ghosting. Yeah, the HD mode is a bit better. It's fraught though, doing these comparisons. Fair play to them, I think they've done well with this ink screen this time. And then lastly, bring in the color light. So this is the a lot lower sort of processing power, and just go ahead and sort of skip about a bit. I think we can see that is, yeah, a little bit slower than the newer chip on here. Bring up the lights so they're similar and go into a browser on both. Yeah, I think you can see there's a slight improvement in terms of the sort of getting around the device. Are we in the same ink mode? I think it shows it needed to be improved, didn't it? Yeah, it is an improvement. There's no doubt about that. What about notes? Still hitting the wobbles around the magnets on the thing. Okay, so that was a rather longer set of testing than I intended to do here, but I think you can see there is an improvement. Actually, I think they're on their way. They're catching up to Boox in some respects. So the ball is in your court, Boox. What are you going to do next?